Welcome back to Anatomy and Physiology on Catalyst University. My name is Kevin Tokoph. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. Back to Anatomy and Physiology on Catalyst University. My name is Kevin Tokoph. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications. In this video, we're going to be discussing something called the popliteal fossa. We're going to be looking first at the boundaries of the popliteal fossa and then also its contents. So first of all, what is the popliteal fossa? Well, the popliteal fossa is really this space right here on the backside or posterior aspect of the knee. Again, if you're looking at anatomical terms, this is your popliteal area. So this space right here is really formed because we have several muscles here on its border, on its periphery, that create the boundaries. So let's look at those boundaries right now. We look at the superior lateral border, so that's right here, okay? This border is formed by the biceps femoris. That's the lateral of the hamstring muscles. Then the superior medial border right here is formed by the other two hamstring muscles, the semitendinosus and semimembranosus. Now, mostly the semimembranosus right here. This is the deeper muscle. This white one, which isn't colored, this is actually the semitendinosus. Okay? So really, it's mostly the semimembranosus right here. Okay? Then if we look at the inferior medial border, this is going to be formed by the medial head of the gastrocnemius, right here in blue. And then we have the inferior lateral border. This is formed by the lateral head of the gastrocnemius, but also the plantaris muscle. Most sources won't include the plantaris muscle, but it is there. And the plantaris muscle is deeper, so it's kind of between the floor of the popliteal fossa and the gastrocnemius lateral head. But again, it makes up that as well. And this space in here, which is going to have some contents that we'll see in a minute, is the popliteal fossa. But it also has a roof and it has a floor. Let's look at the floor first. The floor is what's in the back of this image, so actually more anterior technically, but I guess you could say deeper. The floor is really just the popliteal surface of the femur, okay, the bone itself. And that's going to have, of course, the capsule of the knee joint and then something called the oblique popliteal ligament. Okay? But just generally speaking, the floor is going to be the popliteal surface of the femur. And the roof would be what covers this superficially, which I guess would be posteriorly, and that would be fascia lata. And within the fascia lata, you're also going to have branches of the posterior femoral cutaneous nerve, and then branches of the lesser saphenous vein that are going to kind of run in that area. Okay? But again, the fascia lata is going to enclose this superficially and form the roof of the popliteal fossa. Now, being a space, we're of course going to have contents that move through there. In previous playlists, we talked about, let's say, the femoral triangle, and there was a femoral canal. There's also an adductor canal, and those were actually ways to get blood vessels and nerves from the pelvic area kind of down to the knee, right? And so this popliteal fossa is going to be a space where we're going to be able to get, again, vessels and nerves from the proximal part of the leg, that is the thigh, down to the distal part down here, right? So now it's time to look at the contents in the popliteal fossa. We got several things. One, we have the tibial nerve, which is the medial half of the sciatic nerve. Then we have the common peroneal nerve, which is the lateral half of the sciatic nerve. Now, I have a separate video where we talk about the sciatic nerve, and I recommend you go back and watch that. But one thing I'm going to mention very briefly is that when we talk about the sciatic nerve is composed of two portions. It's composed of a tibial portion, which I have here in green, and a common fibular portion here in blue. And really, from its origin at its nerve roots, all the way down through the gluteal region and the posterior thigh, these two portions remain tightly bound together, covered by a sciatic sheath. But once the sciatic nerve reaches the superior angle of the popliteal fossa, the sciatic sheath terminates, and both of these portions of the sciatic nerve bifurcate, or they separate, into two respective nerves. That is the tibial nerve and the common fibular or common peroneal nerve. Now they're separate nerves. So coming back to this picture, proximal to the knee, so up here in the posterior thigh, we have the sciatic nerve. And so it's kind of descending down, of course, in its sciatic sheath. But once it gets to this superior angle of the popliteal fossa, which is formed by the superior lateral border and the superior medial border, once it gets here, the sciatic sheath dissipates and those two portions separate and move as separate nerves, and that occurs roughly at the superior angle of the popliteal fossa. So again, superior angle of popliteal fossa, sciatic sheath dissipates or terminates, and these two nerves separate as separate nerves. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. So again, when we're talking about the contents of the popliteal fossa, generally we talk about the tibial nerve and common fibular nerve because the sciatic nerve no longer exists as a whole unit. In fact, you can actually see that bifurcation right up here at the top. So right up here we have the sciatic nerve, but very quickly the common peroneal nerve comes off here. That's the common fibular nerve, and then here is the tibial nerve. So hopefully that makes sense. And then we also have the popliteal vessels. That means the popliteal artery and the popliteal vein. One thing I want to remind you is when we're talking about the popliteal vessels, so we'll just talk about the popliteal artery. Remember, above the popliteal fossa, while still in the adductor canal, it's called the femoral artery. So the femoral artery really exists up here, but as soon as the femoral artery exits the adductor canal through the adductor hiatus, it goes into the popliteal fossa and it changes names. And it changes names to the popliteal artery, and the same thing goes for the vein. Up here it would be the femoral vein. Once it exits the adductor hiatus into the popliteal fossa, it becomes the popliteal vein. And so this red one is the popliteal artery, blue one popliteal vein. Now recall one thing, above the popliteal fossa, remember that's really where the adductor canal is. And remember in the adductor canal we have the femoral artery and the femoral vein. Now the end of the adductor canal is the adductor hiatus. And so that femoral artery is coming down, and once it exits through the adductor hiatus, pretty soon after that it's going to enter the popliteal fossa. But really, once it exits that adductor hiatus and it enters the popliteal fossa, femoral artery changes names to popliteal artery. The same thing goes for the vein. Up here it would be femoral vein, but once it exits the adductor hiatus and enters here, it becomes the popliteal vein. Now specifically talking about the popliteal artery, it's going to descend downward through the popliteal fossa, and once the popliteal artery really gets more to the inferior angle of the popliteal fossa, it's going to branch. Okay? And we'll talk about this more in the next video, but it suffices to say that the popliteal artery is going to form what we call the anterior tibial artery and then the posterior tibial artery, and that branching more or less occurs right around the inferior angle of the popliteal fossa. Okay? The other thing that the popliteal fossa contains is origins of the sural nerve. The sural nerve is a cutaneous nerve that goes to the posterior leg and the lateral aspect of the dorsum of the foot. The dorsum of the foot would be the top of the foot, so it goes to the lateral aspect of that and really just provides sensory information. So if someone were to touch you on those areas, it would relay information to the central nervous system, so they're cutaneous nerves. So origins of the sural nerve are also in the popliteal fossa. All right, so hopefully this video gave you a good understanding of the boundaries of the popliteal fossa and also its major contents. Please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for future videos and notifications.